Hello students, we are starting with the very first chapter from science part 1, that is gravitation. In the previous standard we have studied that this gravitation is the force of attraction which acts not only between any two objects on the earth but it can act between any two objects in the universe. We know what is the history behind the discovery of this gravitational force. As you can see, I am having earth and over it this is an apple tree under which we are having this great man Sir Isaac Newton, and the apple falling down. Instead of eating, this fellow man started wondering why this apple tree is falling towards the earth, why it is not getting attracted towards the moon or any other planet, why it is moving vertically downwards towards the center of the earth and why not in horizontal direction. After some time he concluded that any object is having force of attraction which is exerted on it by the earth, which he called as force of gravitation. After some time he also concluded that this is not only attracting only an apple or any other object which is near the earth, but this force of attraction, that is gravitational force, is also exerted between far away objects like moon and earth. It is because of this gravitational force that the moon is getting attracted towards the center of the earth, which is called gravity, and the moon is moving around the earth in a circular direction. So, this much is what I guess you already know about gravitation. We will be studying more concepts related to gravitation in the chapter. Students, the chapter is going to be very interesting. Let us first just summarize what we know from Newton's concept from our previous standard. We have studied relation between force and motion in 9th standard, and under that we had Newton's 3 laws of motion. Quickly we just revise the 3 laws. The first law of motion, Newton's first law of motion said that every object continues to remain in the state of rest or in uniform motion unless an external unbalanced force acts on it. Then we came to Newton's second law of motion, where we have derived the very important equation which is called force equation. F is equal to m into a, that is F is equal to mass into acceleration. The second law of motion said that the rate of change of momentum, I hope you remember momentum was denoted by capital P. The rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to applied force, and this change of momentum takes place in the direction in which the force is applied. Then the third and the last law of motion, very interesting and very easy it was. There is equal and opposite reaction to every force of action. If there is action force, there will be a reaction force which is equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. So this much we know from our 9th standard. Now let us come to the chapter with respect to first certain basic terms, that is circular motion and centripetal force. Before we start with the chapter, we have to understand what we mean by circular motion and what is centripetal force. Circular motion, you can say the example is suppose there is a fan moving. It is an example of circular motion. Just imagine one situation. I am having a stone tied to a string. This is a string and I am holding it at the center. I am holding this string and the stone is tied to the string and we rotate it. What will happen? The stone will move along a circle. This is called circular motion. So long I am holding this stone with the help of the string, it will go on moving towards the circular path and it will be attracted towards me, that is towards the center of the circle. As soon as I release this thread or this string, the stone will fly off along a straight line, that is along the tangent. This is the tangent. Now, you must have understood what is circular motion. If any object is moving along a circular path by applying force at the center, it is called circular motion. Secondly, what do you mean by centripetal force? The force which is acting on any object moving along a circular path, along a circle, and it is directed towards the center of the circle is called centripetal force. One of the very important definition from the chapter. What you mean by centripetal force? this force which was acting on the stone was one of the example of centripetal force. So force which acts on any object which is moving along a circle and which is directed towards the center of the circle is called centripetal force. Now the board's favorite question forever from the chapter is Kepler's laws. We will be having under this 3 laws and equally each one of them are important. Any of the law when asked, you have to first draw this diagram. You can see I am having sun at the center, which is denoted by S, and suppose there is a planet, any planet, let us say this is Earth, at the position A. This planet will be revolving around the sun. So what are the laws behind sun and planet motion now? First law was, Kepler's first law is, the orbit of a planet is an ellipse. Ellipse means it is not a perfect circle. It is moving along a circular motion, but it is not a perfect circle. It is like an egg shape. The orbit of a planet is an ellipse with the sun at one of the foci. Sun is the focus and your planet will be moving along an ellipse, a shape just like an egg, oval shape. That was simply the Kepler's first law. Very easy. Orbit of a planet is an ellipse with the sun at one of the foci. What is Kepler's second law? The line which is joining the planet and the sun. See, this is the planet and this is the sun, and the line is AS. The line which is joining the sun and the planet sweeps equal areas in equal intervals of time. This is Kepler's second law. What this means, if the position of my planet is A and now it starts moving and stops at B, what is the area swept? It is ASB. It is ASB. Now suppose I change the position of my planet and the planet is suppose at C and it starts moving and stops at D. Now the area covered by the planet is CSD, this triangle CSD. Second law of Kepler says that these two areas 1 and 2 are equal. So how the law will be given? The line which is joining the planet and the sun sweeps equal areas in equal intervals of time. That means line AS, as you can see, AS, and line CS, this is CS. This will sweep equal areas, that is area ASB will be equal to area CSD. CSD. In fact, all three areas will be equal. So the line joining the planet and the sun sweeps equal areas in equal intervals of time is simply the Kepler's second law. Students, we will continue in the next class with Kepler's third law of motion. Till then, bye-bye.